Hello and welcome back. Dear learners, so far we have learned about the origin of the Russian language, the Russian alphabet. In Russian alphabet, we have discussed about the 33 letters in the Russian language and the vowels and consonants. We have also discussed about the devoicing of consonants in Russian. We have also seen with various examples and expressions that how these letters and consonants and vowels, when combined together, they produce distinguished sounds. In Russian language, out of these 33 letters, as we have seen, there are 2 letters which are soundless, but they have also a very significant role in Russian speech. Dear learners, we have seen that with the help of these consonants and vowels, when joined together, we have different words in Russian. These words are being used in sentences. When these sentences are constructed in a simple fashion, these sentences qualify to be simple sentences, interrogative sentences, affirmative sentences, and sentences with negations. Dear learners, since Russian is a very rich language, we have also seen the usage of personal pronouns and possessive pronouns. We have seen how verbs play a significant role in this language. We have also discussed about the specific nature of Russian verbs. We have also discussed a little about the verbs of motion. In verbs of motion, as we have different verbs for actions, for movement, etc. Since Russian is a very rich language, in verbs of motion we have peculiar examples where we are using verbs like ichi, which means to go on foot, and khajit, which also means to go on foot but signifies a complete action. Accordingly, in Russian we have animate and inanimate things. What do we understand by animate and inanimate things? There are things which are not living, they are called inanimate. There are things which are living, we are calling them animate. For example, in Russian we have for inanimate things что, and for animate things we have кто, and accordingly we use кто это, what is this, and что это, what is this. For кто это we are using expressions who is this, and что это we are using what is this expression. These kind of usage is very well distinguished in Russian language. Let us repeat once more. Кто это, who is this, and что это, what is this. So, we will remember these two expressions throughout the text. Dear learners, in this lesson we will discuss in detail about the usage of кто это and что это. As you already know that in Russian, interrogative words like что, which means what, and кто, which means who, and such other expressions play a very vital role, since through them only we express our thoughts and inquire about things. The role of stress is also very important because it is the intonation and stress which changes the meaning of expressions completely. Dear learners, in this lesson further we will be understanding the meaning of interrogative words and expressions with the help of что and кто. Let us learn a few more new expressions. If you remember, in the previous lesson we have talked about the usage of ты form and вы form. So, accordingly here we have expressions здравствуй, which is an informal hello, and здравствуйте, which is a formal hello. Accordingly, we have Dobrое utro, which is good morning, and Do svidaniya. When joined together, the correct pronunciation is Do svidaniya. The literal meaning of Do svidaniya is goodbye. Please pay attention to these words. Dear learners, if you remember that in the previous lesson we have talked about the days of the week, as we called nedelia in Russian. We have these days. Let's revise them once again. Please pay attention to the spelling and pronunciation of these days of the week. Понедельник means Monday, Вторник means Tuesday, Sreda means Wednesday, Четверг means Thursday, Пятница means Friday, Subota means Saturday, and Воскресенье means Sunday. Dear learners, before we start exploring more about что and кто, let's learn a text. This text is again in a dialogue form. Please pay attention to the intonations and pronunciation. Здравствуйте, Галина Николаевна. Здравствуй, Anna. In this expression, as we can see that Anna is addressing Galina Nikolaevna with Здравствуйте, which signifies that she is an elder to her, and accordingly Galina Nikolaevna is addressing Anna with Здравствуй, which signifies that Anna is junior to her. У вас есть газета «Аргументы и факты»? Do you have the newspaper «Аргументы и факты»? Да, есть. Ты хочешь ее читать? Yes, I have. Do you want to read it? Here, when we are using the expression ты хочешь ее читать, for newspaper we have used ее. Газета ends with a, belongs to the feminine gender. That is why ты хочешь ее читать. You want to read it. Да хочу. Можно? Whenever in Russian we are using the expression можно, it means may I. Да хочу, можно. Да, I want, may I. Конечно, of course. In Russian again, whenever we want to say of course, we use expression конечно. Конечно. Спасибо. Пожалуйста. Thank you. Mention not. Here in this context we are using пожалуйста. The literal meaning of пожалуйста is please, but it is also depending upon the context. For example, in this context it means mention not or it's okay, for example. Now according to the animate and inanimate words, we are using что and кто. Let's learn about them one by one. Что это, which means what is this? We have examples like книга, окно, журнал, словарь and ложка. Since all of them are inanimate things or objects, we are using что for them. For asking what is this, we have an expression что это, and answering them in a simple sentence, we are saying это and whatever the name of an object we can use. Что это? Это окно. Что это? Это журнал. Что это? Это словарь. Что это? Это ложка. Dear learners, here we are beginning with the first case or the именительный падеж, which means the nominative case, nominativus or nominativi, which means the subject of the sentence. Here you can see that many new Russian words are being used for understanding, like whenever you are asking anything, what is this, you can say что это, the answer would be это, then the name of the object or thing you want to say. Let's learn a few more such expressions. Что это? Это вилка. Что это? Это рубашка. Что это? Это книги и журналы. In the last one, we have seen that we have used Knigy и журнали in plural forms. So, accordingly, whenever anything is asked like what is this, you can always use the singular and plural forms. Dear learners, please remember the word что, which means what, is pronounced as что, sh, te, o in place of che, te, o. Что это? Now we will be learning about the animate objects. These animate beings which are being used with the help of expression кто это, which means who is this? Это Иван, this is Иван. Кто это? Это студент. Кто это? Это студентка. Кто это? Это врач. Кто это? Это Larissa. Here all beings which are used here are of animate nature. Dear learners, as we have just learned once again about the days of the week, let us repeat them once again, then we will go to the next section. Неделя means the week. We have 7 days in a week. Let us revise them once again. Понедельник means Monday. Вторник means Tuesday. Среда means Wednesday. Четверг means Thursday. Пятница means Friday. Суббота means Saturday, and воскресенье means Sunday. Accordingly, in Russian, like we have names of the days of the week, we also have 12 months. All these 12 months in a calendar year are in Russian. Let us learn about them one by one. In Russian, month is called месяц, and accordingly we have 12 months in a year. They are январь, февраль, март, апрель, май, июнь, июль, август, сентябрь, октябрь, ноябрь and декабрь. Let us learn their meaning. Yanvar is January. Fevral means February. Mart means March. April means April. Mai means May. June means June. Yule means July. August means August. Сентябрь means September. Октябрь means October. Ноябрь means November, and Декабрь means December. Dear learners, as the days of the week and months of the year are very important in Russian language, it is advised that you must remember them by heart. You can also look at the ending of these words and find out which gender they belong to. We will be discussing more about the usage of the days of the week and the months of the year in a dedicated session when we talk about them with the help of several texts. Before we go to the next section, let us revise the months of the year one by one. Please pay attention to the spelling and pronunciations. Once again, Yanvar, Fevral, Mart, April, Mai, June, Yule, August, Сентябрь, October, Ноябрь and Декабрь. Dear learners, since we have used the days of the week and months of the year, we have also used in the previous lessons a lot of new Russian words and expressions, and since we have been using these words and expressions in the text, we are also using different verbs to express the right meaning. Here again we are introducing you to a new text. Please pay attention to the construction and the pronunciation of the words in these sentences. When all these sentences are combined together, we are having a text with a bigger meaning. Please pay attention to the words and expressions, the intonations and pronunciations while I read text for you. Это Антон Петрович. Он инженер. Он хороший специалист. Ему 45 лет. Антон Петрович добрый человек. А вот его жена Вера Васильевна. Она тоже инженер. Ей 41 год. Она очень добрая женщина. Они вместе работают. Dear learners, here we have just learned about that how these Russian words and expressions are used in a form of text. We have also paid attention to the pronunciation, and now we will learn about the meaning of the text. The first paragraph, please pay attention to the meaning of the words and expression used in this text. Это Антон Петрович. This is Anton Petrovich. Он инженер. He is an engineer. Он хороший специалист. He is a good technician. Ему 45 лет. He is 45 years old. If you pay attention to the counting here, whenever we are saying that somebody is how old, we are using in dative case, and for him we are saying he is 45 years old. For example, in this text we are using ему 45 лет. He is 45 years old. Let us learn about the remaining sentences in this paragraph. Anton Petrovich добрый человек. Anton Petrovich is a kind man. Accordingly, we have just used доброе утро, добрый день and добрый вечер. There the context was good, and here we can use good or kind for добрый. Добрый человек, a good man or a kind man you can use. Let us learn to the next sentences. А вот его жена Вера Васильевна, and that is his wife Vera Vasilievna. For husband we have word in Russian mуж, mуж, and for wife we have word in Russian жена, жена. And in this sentence let us read а вот его жена Vera Vasilievna, and here it is his wife Vera Vasilievna. Она тоже инженер. She is also an engineer. Whenever we are using an expression means also, we use тоже, тоже. For example, он тоже мой брат. He is also my brother. So accordingly you can use these expressions in your own sentences. Ей 41 год. She is 41 years old. Она очень добрая женщина. She is a very good woman. Here you can see that how the ending of the adjective and noun are agreeing together. That is why when we have a word or a noun женщина, the adjective ending is changing accordingly. That is why we have она очень добрая женщина. Then the last sentence here, они вместе работают. They work together. Since we have a plural here, that is why the verb работать has been conjugated in the form of ani. That is why it is ani vimesche rabota youth. With these examples, now you have a fair idea that how these words and verbs are used in a form of a text. Let us go to the next paragraph. Сегодня воскресенье. Они отдыхают дома. Сейчас Антон Петрович пишет письмо. Today is Sunday. They are taking rest at home. Whenever we are using dom, it means house, and whenever we are saying at home, we are using дома. Сейчас Антон Петрович пишет письмо. Right now, we use expression сейчас. Right now, Anton Petrovich is writing a letter. Here the verb писать has been used and conjugated accordingly. Он любит писать длинные письма. He likes to write long letters. А Вера Васильевна готовит обед. And Vera Vasilievna is preparing the lunch. Она всегда готовит вкусный обед. She always prepares вкусный обед means tasty lunch. For tasty we have an adjective here вкусный, and if we change it into a noun, the noun is вкус, which means taste. Let us go to the last paragraph now. Их дочь Лена учится. Their daughter Lena studies. Она студентка. She is a student. Ей 18 лет. She is 18 years old. Она очень красивая. She is very beautiful. So accordingly, whenever we have an adjective красивый, красивая, it is changing according to the gender of the noun. Since we have Lena, a feminine gender noun for a girl, we are using an adjective красивая. You can also use the word in a form of an adjective красивый or красивая in your own sentences. Let us go to the last line. Сейчас она читает русский журнал Новый мир. Right now she is reading the Russian magazine called Novy Mir. So accordingly, in this text you have seen that how different meanings, expressions, words, verbs are being used. Dear learners, with the help of these texts, we are making several sentences comprising of all these new words, verbs and expressions so that you can understand Russian in a more efficient and correct manner. Our purpose is also to make you understand how in Russian speech and in day-to-day communication in Russian all these words, verbs and expressions play a very vital role. It is also advised that whatever the new Russian words, expressions and verbs you are learning in each lesson, you write them and use in your own sentences. You can begin with simple sentences and you have a very fair idea how to create your own interrogative sentences, affirmative sentences and sentences in negation. You have also seen that how these verbs are being conjugated. There are such verbs which are not deliberately being conjugated in these lessons, and you can conjugate these verbs using the same technique as we have did in these lessons for you. Dear learners, if you pay attention to the interrogative words kakoi, kakaya, kakoe, which is related to the masculine gender, feminine gender and neuter gender, these forms of adjectives are respectively used in the same context. Kakoi for masculine, kakaya for feminine and kakoe for neuter. For example, if I want to say kakoi, kakaya and kakoe in different context, I can use in masculine gender such as novi jornal, kakoi jornal, novi jornal, kakoi park, krasivi park. So, whenever we are asking kakoi, we are deliberately signifying and pointing towards the usage of the adjective, and likewise you have just seen that we have used kakoi for identifying the adjective here. Какой журнал? Новый журнал. Какой человек? Хороший человек. Accordingly, какая книга? Новая книга. Какая женщина? Хорошая женщина. And какое здание? Красивое здание. And какое пальто? Хорошее пальто. So here you can see that despite of the fact that whether the noun is an animate or inanimate, the ending of the adjective changes according to the gender. We will be discussing more about the usage of these adjectives in the coming lessons. Thank you.